Hello and welcome. This is Christina Hills with the Website Creation Workshop, and welcome to this special webinar on 7 steps to creating great web graphics without a designer. And my name is Christina Hills, and for 10 years I have been teaching the Website Creation Workshop, and that's a program to teach you how to empower yourself to build your website without a webmaster. But I just want to ask you, for those of you who are back in the 70s and 80s, do you remember Happy Days? Just type in the chat. Do you remember that show, Happy Days? Well, it was a show that I loved, and there were two characters on Happy Days, which were Laverne and Shirley. And so what happened is they spun off the show Laverne and Shirley from Happy Days. So Happy Days spawned a new show, which is Laverne and Shirley. So just like that TV spin-off, my website creation workshop has now spun off the graphics creation workshop. I took the content about creating graphics from the website creation workshop, pulled it together, and made its own entire course. But I want to let you know I was not trained as a graphic designer. So I'm not a trained graphic designer, although I have a background in special effects and I was an art history major. I was not a classically trained graphic designer. But what I've done is built the graphics creation workshop to focus on teaching you how to find and create great graphics yourself. So you don't have to be trained. And the reason why is there's graphics that you need on a daily or weekly basis for social media and your website. And just like waiting around for a web designer to build your site, who wants to wait around for a graphic designer to get back to you and get you graphics that you need for your online marketing? But I do want to let you know that professional designers do have a place, right? There are things that sometimes are beyond your skill set, and so you may want to hire out a graphic designer. But there are lots of times when you can create your own professional looking web graphics yourself, and that will save you time and money. And not only that, have fun. When I want to take a break from my work and have fun, I start making graphics. And here are some examples of my students who I've taught these skills to and the graphics that they've made. So the first one is Deborah, and she has got a little quote, and she's got her website at the bottom. The second one was for a mastermind retreat one of my students made. This one from Sally, she wrote a book and she wanted to do a promo graphic to share on social media, encouraging people to buy her book on Amazon. This other one, Ellen, made an infographic, and I'll talk about that in a bit. And then here's another one, a little quote graphic. So there's all kinds of times and places when you want to make graphics. So let me show you some more examples of graphics you can make. So you can make graphics for your email or to post on Facebook. You can make a graphic for a Twitter post. You know, if you want to make something and post it to Twitter. On social media, if you post a photo, it gets way more attention. And I don't have a poll for this, but if you could just type in the little question chat box, you know, are you active on social media? Why don't you just type that in the question box, getting a whole bunch of yeses, some a little bit, but graphics on social media gets a lot more attention. Okay, aside from social media, you might be wanting to make graphics to put in your blog posts so that when you have an image in your blog post, it will break up and make it easier for people to read. And then sometimes you want to make a graphic just to make a birthday card. So I made this for my mom, took a photo that of her and I together, and then I added this little happy birthday pat and then the little hearts. So sometimes it's not a business reason why you want to make graphics, you just want to make it for your loved one. Now, the other place on social media that you need graphics are header graphics for a fan page. Now, if you're listening to me and you don't have a fan page, don't worry about it. You don't have to have it. I just want to show places where you might need graphics and you might not want to hire out and pay for someone else to do, like a Twitter header, LinkedIn header, Pinterest, or maybe Instagram, graphics for Instagram. Now, I mention these social media sites, but don't think, oh my gosh, Christina's saying I have to be on all these social media sites. You don't. You know, a lot of people, they just do Facebook and that's it, or they don't do any of them, right? You don't have to do any of them. Another instance you might want to make graphics is make some infographics. So an infographic, it tends to be tall and narrow, It is a graphic image that tells a story and it helps you make a point with valuable information. People often share your infographics and drive traffic to your site. So just backing up a second, here's a marketing predictions, and there's often, statistics. Here I made a little one to promote my course. Here's one, daily schedule, how to take care of your pet. So these are just fun visual graphics that tend to tell a story. That's what an infographic is. All right, so I first want to explain what I teach. So I'm teaching about online web graphics. I am not teaching print graphics, okay? Print graphics is a whole other skill set. You go to the printer and there's all these things you have to think about. I am teaching people how to make their own online web graphics. All right, so let's just jump in. Let's talk about and define what is a logo. So a logo is an icon that represents your company. And here are some famous logos: UPS, Apple, Twitter, and Nike. And they tend to be in a squarish shape, and they represent your brand. Now let me show you an example of when I started the website creation workshop. I had a logo designed and it was too long and rectangular. You really want your logo to fit more in a squarish shape. So let me back up. These are kind of more squarish. You want logos to fit in a squarish shape. So why is that? It's because when your website is displayed on mobile, a stacked squarish shape is much better than a long one. But talking about creating graphics in general, when you need a logo, you should hire a designer in general. But you can make a temporary one yourself in the meantime. So here's the thing, and as you're listening to me, let me know if you can relate to this. You may start with a business idea and go through a few different names before you settle on a name. I was running the website creation workshop for 6 months before I had a logo made. So don't think in order to start a business you've got to have your logo right away. You do not. So you don't have to. But let's talk about temporary logos. All right, so as I mentioned, the Graphics Creation Workshop is this new program. And so I was like, all right, let me come up with a temporary logo. And I'm going to have you vote in a moment. So I came up with this version. I came up with this version, kind of looks like a pie. Came up with this version and then this other one. So logo number 1, 2, 3, and 4, just type in the chat which one you like the best. And I'll be curious. I didn't do a poll for this. Probably should have done a poll. Would have been a little bit more scientific. But I'm seeing a lot of 4s. A lot of people like number 4. Some are liking 3, some are liking 2. Not too many people liking number 1. And although a couple are liking number 1. Yeah, I like the image in number 4. So what's my point? My point is I can teach you how to create your own temporary logo, which might be good enough. But just think what it will save you. I mean, the minimum for a logo is like $500, really. So, and that's low. That's low for a logo. But the benefit of having a logo, a temporary logo, is you can kind of work through some of your ideas before you go spending a whole bunch of money that you then have to throw away. Okay, let me keep going. So let's talk about graphics on your website. So I want to define the graphics on your website. I already described what a logo is. I'm going to talk about what a logo is versus your site title and tagline. And if you don't have a website, just listen to me because at some point you will, if you don't have one yet. Then there's header graphics, and then there's a background image or a background graphic. And I talked about this logo already, this one being too long, it needing to be square. But let me show you how I used it first. This is my website back in 2009. Do you remember this? I don't know if you've been around since 2009, but this is what my website looked like when I first put it up. And I put the logo in the header, and I had this little reflection and then a picture of me in the blackboard. And this is what my site looked back in 2009. But this style of a big header graphic has kind of gone away because you need your site to be mobile responsive. And yes, this was the Flex theme. This was my first theme that I used when I built my site. Here's my website today. Here's a picture of my About Us page. And here is my logo stacked in a square-ish shape in the corner, so that when I view my site on mobile, then it'll adjust appropriately. So this is my About Us page on mobile. So that's it. So this is a mobile-friendly logo. So let me show you some examples of some of my students and talk about the graphics. So here we have, this is from Deborah Mars. She built this site for this author. And in this background image, this kind of cool hippie-ish sort of looking image, that's the header image. And this in the center is her site title and tagline. Now she could put a logo here, and I'll show an example of that. But what I'm doing now is defining these different areas of this website so that when you're thinking about making graphics for yourself, you've got it clear in your brain what your goal is. And this is just an image on the page. So this is her header image in the background. Here's her site title and tagline. Now take a look at this next student. This one's really interesting, and I don't have a circle for it. Here's her background, and that's a repeating pattern. I'll teach that in just a few moments. Here's her header graphic, and her site title and tagline is just text on top, but it kind of fits into the image. It looks like it's part of her header graphic, but it's actually text on top. Hold on one second. So let me just back up. So this site title and tagline is text laying on top of the header image, but it's somewhat separate from the image, but it looks really good. This one is laying on top, but it looks like it's part of it. So that's just a cool example. Uh, and then here, Elizabeth, she has a logo here and it fits in this area. And so there's no header in the background. There's just her logo here, and hers is somewhat of a longish shape. Okay, let me keep going about different ideas. You can create header images. So I'm talking about different things you can do and defining the different terms. And once you know how to make a header image, you can put it in your email. Makes your email a little bit more fun. I love sending emails that have graphics in it. Let me keep going. Let's talk about now the background image on a site. So here's another one of my students built this website, and she put this nice background in. See, so this is the background image. So I'm defining these terms, so when you're working on your business and you say, I need some imagery, what is it you're looking for? Are you looking for a background image? Now here's an important point. You want your background image, and the term is called tiling. Tiling, you want it to tile like wallpaper, right? You look at wallpaper in a home and you don't see any seams, or you shouldn't see any seams. It's seamless and it repeats and it goes on like to infinity. Now, in this next slide, here's an example of bad tiling. Okay, this is bad tiling. It's a bad background image, but see how it's repeating? You can see these seams. It doesn't look good. Whereas here, a repeating background, tiling like wallpaper looks good. So that's just the term. So let's dive in to the 7 steps to create a graphic. Here are the 7 steps, and I made an infographic to explain this point. So step number 1, and I'm going to walk through this. Step number 1 is you want to pick a shape. Step number 2 is pick a tool. Step number 3 is pick an image. Step number 4 is add text. Step number 5, save your image. Step number 6, compress your image, and I'll teach you what that means. And step number 7 is upload your image. So first, let's pick a shape. When you're going to make a graphic, you want to keep in mind what shape is it going to be in the end. So, is your graphic going to be square? Is it going to be tall and long like an infographic, or maybe a banner graphic that's tall? Or is it going to be rectangular and squarish, right? So this is step 1, pretty easy step. Have in mind what is the shape. Then you want to pick a tool. Now, many people think of Photoshop as something that they need to have, and I want to let you know you do not have to have Photoshop. Photoshop is the hard way to make graphics. It's what designers use, and it is not easy to learn. I can't tell you how many times I've screamed at Photoshop. It is not intuitive. It is not easy to learn. You just have to memorize it. It takes a long time. So that's my complaint with Photoshop, but it's been around forever, but it is the hard way to do it. Now here's a couple of other tools that are easy to use and easy to learn. The first one is Canva, and the second one is PicMonkey. So you pick your tool. Are you going to work with Canva, or are you going to work with PicMonkey? All right, so then number 3 is you pick an image. So what do I mean by that? Pick like a baseline image, either stock photography or your camera. So stock photography, if you've never heard of that term, is there are many different websites where you can buy professional images, professional photos. And some of them are you pay for and some of them are free. So, and there's prices that are sort of all over the map. Or you could just take a picture yourself. right? So what is your baseline of your image? Will it be a stock photo or will you use your camera? Then you want to add text to your image. This is in the 7 steps. So here is an example of a stock photo that I got of this guitar player. It was an article I wrote about donating to plugins authors. And so here I had just added some text on, and then in the bottom I put a little link to my website. And it's faint and it's subtle because I want people more to focus on adding the text to the image. And here's another example of adding text to an image. So this is a stock photo. I've got my name and my website at the bottom, and I have a headline and then a little subheadline. So that is step number 4, is adding text. Then in step number 5, you want to save your image. And let me explain a little bit about image file extensions. So there is JPEG and it sometimes is JPEG or .jpg, PNG or GIF. And let me explain this. JPEG is the most common image format. Have you heard of the term JPEG? I'm just curious. You could just type in the chat whether it's like, oh man, Christina, we know JPEG. You don't need to explain it. All right, there are a couple of no's. Okay, so most everybody is a yes, a couple of no's. JPEG, it's a file format. So like image.jpg. So that's what it would be on your computer, image.jpg. And it's the best for photos. Then there's another one. This is an older format. It's called a GIF. Some people call it GIF. I call it GIF. I think both pronunciations is correct. It's best for simple images because it can't retain all the complexity between that a JPEG can. It's an older format, but it does have animation capabilities. Like, see this little simple animated hummingbird. So that's called an animated GIF. So I don't use GIFs that often. I mostly use JPEG or PNG, also pronounced ping. .png is a ping file. It is newer. It's an alternative to GIF, and it supports more colors than a GIF. See, a GIF can't hold so many colors. See how this looks kind of pixelated, kind of low res. A PNG file doesn't lose quality after you save it multiple times. That's a problem with JPEG. If you save and save and save on top of each other, it can lose quality. This is best for images with lots of text. So the easy way to think about it is if your image is mostly a photo, you would want to save it as a JPEG. If it's got a lot of text, the text comes out crisper, you want to save it as a PNG. It can also do transparency, meaning see how this little piggy is on top of the yellow versus this little piggy is on top of white, and it looks better if you've got a yellow background to have the piggy on top of the yellow. So that's the difference between JPEG, GIF, and PNG. So most of the time you want a JPEG or a PNG. Now, step 6 is you want to compress your image. And why do you want to compress your image? Because you want to avoid slow load times. So if you've got a big, fat, heavy image and that's on your website, that it's going to slow your website down. So you want to compress. So let me teach you what this means, and I'll sit on this slide for just a few minutes so that you understand the concept. You want to reduce and compress your photo or your images for the web. And there's two ways you want to do it. You want to compress it in width and height, and then you want to compress it in heaviness, file size. So, for example, here's this photo, and the original photo was 1920 pixels by 1440 pixels. Right, so that's a big photo. And if I'm going to put that on my website, I am most likely not going to be displaying it that huge. So I want to make it smaller and resize it to, for example, 350 by 263. Why make your website work hard to read in a really big picture, analyze it, and then shrink it down when you can do that yourself outside of your website? So then the second phase, so you want to get it the right dimensions. The second phase is you want to reduce the heaviness. That's called compression. So this went from 142 kilobytes down to 18. It's the same size, but the weight is smaller, and visually these two look exactly the same. So when you're thinking about your images that you create or take with your camera, I see this a lot. People take pictures with their camera and they upload these giant 4,000 pixel images to their website. Don't do that. You want to reduce the width and the height, and you also want to reduce the file size. That will make, if you've got a website, that'll make your website run faster. If you are loading to social media, it doesn't matter as much because like it's Facebook is, that's up to them to worry about how fast Facebook loads. This is more of an issue for putting a photo on your own website. So there are different ways, and I don't want to get too technical in today's call. So there's different ways to reduce the weight of the image. There's different ways to do it. But my point and why I'm stressing this here is to make sure you understand reducing width and height, right, to make it smaller, and then also reducing the weight. So what does that mean behind the scenes? Behind the scenes, software just calculates and makes fewer pixels. So hopefully you know what the term pixels is. All right, let me keep going. All right, then step 7, upload your new graphic to your website or social media. So let's say I made this one about just loving each other, because that's what's going to heal this world and heal this planet, is to just pour out love onto each other. So I made that graphic and I posted it to Facebook, and there I've just circled the image that I uploaded. And then here, the donate adding pictures to my WordPress site, I just circled the graphic that I put up. So look how much more interesting, you know, this article gets if you've got a visual in there. So those are my 7 steps to creating a graphic. Pick a shape, pick a tool, pick an image, add text, save your image, compress your image, and then upload your image to social media or your website. So I want to show you just some more examples of graphics that I've created, all different styles and types. And I want to tell you about the graphics creation workshop, creating your own graphics without a designer. So this is a new program, and let me go walk through the different sessions. There are 3 sessions and a bonus session. Session number 1 is how to find images for your designs. The key to creating stunning web graphics is to start with high quality imagery. You'll start with learning how in the website creation in the graphics creation workshop, you'll learn how to find high quality images in the graphics you're creating. There are many stock websites. This is what I'm going to teach you about, is how to find the images. Then in session two is about creating and editing your images and how to add text and how to put together an image and edit it. This is the editing part. Then in session three, I'll go into more detail on cropping and sizing your images, how you do that, talk about, how to avoid your images being fuzzy. And then in the bonus session number 4 is all about color. I'm going to teach you about color combinations, what color codes mean and how to use them, how to find colors from a website or image, and just how to work with color and your site. The program includes an online members area, and this is a screenshot from inside the online members area. I also have a PDF resource workbook for you with all my resources so that you have all in one place where to go to find the different tools, resources, and sites. So here's everything you're going to get in the graphics creation workshop when you join today. An online members area, 4 live training webinar sessions, designed so you do not have to be there live. I know there's someone listening to us now and it's 3:20 in the morning. These sessions, they are designed so you can listen to them offline. Then I'll have a follow-up Q&A webinar session, and also that PDF resource workbook. So here's everything you'll be able to do. You'll be able to create graphics for headers, blog posts, Facebook, Instagram, social media, infographics, and ebook covers, and more. And I didn't demo or show you any ebook covers, but that is something that you will be able to do with this training. This program comes with a 100% money-back guarantee. Attend the webinars, watch the videos, review all the program materials. You have a full 45 days to evaluate the entire program and put it into action. If you decide this won't help you create your own graphics, simply contact us by email and let us know which part of the course you didn't like, and request a refund, and we'll give you your full money back. So it is risk-free. You've got 45 days. And I want to play. Let's play together. Let's make some graphics. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn. And that's what we're going to do next week in the graphics creation workshop. So go to graphicscreationworkshop.com/enroll. And drum roll, this program is only $197. I am running a special. It's normally going to be $297, but I am running a special of $197. That's a one-time fee. A lot of people have told me that the website creation workshop was out of their budget, and I wanted to come up with a program that would work for people. Whether you've got your own web designer, some people have a web designer, they don't want to do it themselves, but they want this skill to be able to create their own graphics. The deadline to get this special price is Monday, February 13th at 9 o'clock. That's when I'm going to be raising the price. So the special price through Monday until 9 p.m. is $197, a one-time fee. So that's where you want to go, graphicscreationworkshop.com/enroll, and join me in this course.